All right, y'all, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate y'all tuning in. This is the second installment of HBCU Stories here on Facebook Live and on YouTube. I am joined today. We got full screen today. Finally, everybody made it on time. we got we got Tanya, who is a graduate of Johnson C. Smith University. We got my man Al Brown, who is a graduate of Johnson C. Smith University, and my boy Perry, who is a graduate of North Carolina A&T University. Yo, I appreciate all y'all joining in. I will say that I think we got a good representation. We got two people from New York. We got somebody representing from North Carolina. And I always hold it down for Jersey. So and we always say, we might not know each other, but when we talk about HBCU, it's all love because the stories are usually similar and the experience is like no other. So I'm gonna start with ladies first. And what I'm gonna ask you, Tanya, is why an HBCU? And why did you select an HBCU?
Okay. So my story is probably going to be very different, very unique from any other, because I didn't even know Johnson C. Smith was an HBCU. I didn't know anything about HBCUs before I came to Smith.
Okay.
All I knew was that it was a small school. It offered the major that I wanted. I actually went and looked in the college handbook. This was obviously back in 1990, 91. So we didn't have all the luxuries of internet and all the stuff that they have now, but looked in the college handbook for what I was interested in, for the amount of students that I wanted to be around. And that was it, really.
Right.
And so my experience was, like I said, different. And I mean, growing up in New York, I went to school with all Blacks and Hispanics. So I didn't have like a cultural per se experience coming to Smith.
Right.
But I did have the HBCU experience. Once I knew what that was and understood what it was, I was able to embrace it and have an experience. So I definitely had a great experience. But interestingly enough, I didn't even sought out to go to a HBCU. I didn't know anything about homecoming. I didn't know nothing about fraternities and sororities. So as you can imagine, my first year was definitely an experience learning about all that stuff.
Right. So you applied. So you found out about Smith. You applied to Smith. Was there any other schools that you were interested in going to at the time?
At the time, I was looking at state universities in New York.
Okay. And then you just decided, like, I'm going as far away as I can.
I wanted to get away. Yes, I wanted to leave New York. I wanted to get away from New York. And 10 hours away was a good ways away.
Okay.
So I just was like, okay, it's time to go. Time to get out of here. And I still live in Charlotte. So that tells you a lot. I decided to not go back after being here. And, Charlotte is my city now. So
right. Yeah. All right, so Al, what was it for you to go to a HBCU and why?
Well, growing up all my life, people who know me know my mother. She's definitely well into civil rights. She's into the Black experience, and growing up, being the child of a Delta, I heard Omega Psi Phi, Delta Sigma Theta. I heard you are going to an HBCU, and that's what it was.
Right. so you didn't have a choice whether I
didn't have a choice.
Right.
And the thing about it was when it came to going to Johnson C. Smith, that decision wasn't made to the car was packed, and I was on my way already to Virginia Union. We was leaving New York. The day we was leaving New York, I got a letter said that Johnson C. Smith accepted me, and they were going to waive matriculation fees and everything else. And it just so happened that my man, that's like my brother. A lot of y'all know him, Selvis, if you call him Bone.
Right.
Johnson C. Smith the year before I did. And a young lady up the street who used to babysit me when I was younger, she went to Johnson C. Smith, and she actually was there while I was still at Smith. So Smith was like, okay, I don't know what to expect. I know it's down in Charlotte. I've never been to Charlotte. We're gonna make this move. I've been to Virginia before.
Right.
Yeah, I wanted to get as far away from New York as possible at that.
So you were going to Virginia Union and then was like, nah, I'm gonna go ahead and go to Smith.
Nah, they had my room ready at Virginia Union, everything. I got
that's crazy, yo.
I was leaving, the car was packed, and we were literally about to pull away from the house.
Wow.
My mother asked me, "What you want to do?" I said, "Let's go to Charlotte. They already paid for I ain't got to pay for no room and board to get on campus. Let's go there." So
Right.
yeah, it turned out to be. It was a great choice, though. I was happy for it.
That's what's up, man. And Perry, so you're from North Carolina, and tell me what made you go ahead and select and go to the HBCU.
Well, I'm from Henderson, North Carolina, and Greensboro is. We're here in Charlotte, and Greensboro is an hour and a half north of here, and my hometown is an hour and a half north of Greensboro. Just to give you perspective on where I'm from here in North Carolina, but A&T was all we knew. All of my family, my mother's sisters, my dad's sisters, cousins, all of us, A&T was the answer. It was. For me, it was a no-brainer. I applied for some other schools just to apply, but I knew I was going to A&T. My dad said, "When you turn 18, you're getting out of here." He said, "Military or school," and
right.
I said, "I'm going to A&T."
No doubt.
Never regretted the decision.
No doubt. No doubt. Now your screen is frozen for some reason, Perry. I don't know why, but see if you can log out and log back in. And okay. I'm gonna see if I can get your screen because it's frozen. Yeah. All right. So the next thing we're gonna talk about is the initial reaction when you got on campus. So Tanya, you said yourself you didn't know anything about HBCUs, but so you get on campus and to the sidebar real quick. So you pull up on that August summer evening, right? And you check into the McDonald's hotel, right? I check in to the McDonald's hotel, and my mom was like, "Go downstairs and unload that car." As I was walking out, you were walking to your car to get the stuff out of your car. And that's where we met, right? That's where we met. I was like, "Yo, you go to Smith?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm going to Smith." So when you get on campus, what was the initial thought?
So let me tell you this. I'm kind of like Al when it comes, like the first time I even saw the campus was when my parents brought me and dropped me off to go to school. Like, I didn't go to like the college tour or any of that. So my first experience and my first time in North Carolina was then. So we just drove down from Brooklyn and we get to Batesford Road, and I was like, "Yo, this looks like New York." I was like, "Oh, they even have a boutique hair studio here, like we got in Brooklyn." Like,
right.
This is what it looks like, because you expect coming from New York that the South is gonna be the perception that people give, that it's like dirt roads and no, but I was like, this looks just like Brooklyn. I'm good.
Right.
I'm home. So my first impression, I don't think I had any big expectations, to be honest with you. So it was what it was, and it wasn't like I had any options at that point. And I was ready to settle in and just make it do what it do, to be honest with you. So, and because I didn't have anything to compare it to, I was cool. And then, of course, when you start seeing the other campuses, you're like, well, damn, I should have checked around a little bit, but no, I'm just kidding.
Right. That's funny. Yeah. I think the night before I left to go to school, my brother was driving me all around Camden, New Jersey. And he's like, "Look, man, get out of here, man. You got your whole life ahead of you. You got bigger and better things coming your way. You know what I mean?" He's like, "Don't come back here." We pull off on Batesford Road. I'm like, "This look like Camden." You know what I mean? I was like,
right.
So Al, what was your first impression when you got up on the yard?
My first impression on the yard, to be honest with you, my mind was completely open. I had no expectations.
Right.
I already did the bus trips for the college. I went to Hampton. I went to Norfolk State, and then went to one other school. And when I saw how just the Black college life was, I was like, "This is what I need. This is what I want."
Right.
When I get to Charlotte, it was, oh damn, okay. I just come into it. It's like I'm seeing Mr. C's chicken and Busy Bee and everything
Right.
5 points.
Yeah, 5 exactly. We got down there. My parents brought me down. My grandparents showed up, and it was fun. Now, similar to you guys' story, how y'all met at McDonald's Inn. That's where I met Yaya at McDonald's Inn.
Okay, yeah.
Hilarious. My father was like, "Yeah, go say something." I was like, We ended up becoming real good friends. But
Right.
I got to campus. We got to campus. It was like, okay, I see 4 people that I knew.
That's
Siobhan Matthews, we went to high school together. Chance Douglas, we went to high school together, and Vanita Moore. The 3 of them, all of us graduated from August Martin in Queens at one time. My brother, who I didn't know until the day I was coming back to school, he was suspended for the first semester. And I'm not going to touch on that.
Right.
I got to school, and I remember the first meeting we had in the dorm. And you know how, Justin, I know you remember this enlisting, how your RA would be like, say your name and where you're from.
Right.
Yeah, my name is Al. I'm from Queens, New York. All you heard in the background was, oh, damn, we got another crazy nigga from Queens.
Right.
Hilarious. I'm like, okay, he really set the bar high since I've been here. And by the time he got back second semester, it was all good.
Right.
But walking on campus, I think the main thing was representing New York, making sure I represented New York. And that's how I became friends with my first friend right here who's on camera as well.
Hey.
I believe I even carrying a box, rocking a mixtape.
Right.
At that time, so everybody knew is like, yeah, he's from New York.
Right.
On campus, it was more like establishing who I was, where I'm coming from, and just trying to build as many friends as I could and figure out who the fake ones were at first.
Right.
It was different. Just like Tanya said, when I went to high school. When I started high school, we had a whole mix of people. By the time I graduated, it was Blacks, Puerto Ricans, and about a handful of Asians.
Right.
So I knew when I went to college, I think I want to, not that I don't want to broaden my horizons, but I want to stay around my people.
Yeah, I get you. I feel you on that. Like my first impression was it was good to see as many of us as it was, and then like seeing all of us with our parents and everybody standing in line and the pride that the parents had on their faces and the kids like we standing around like just people watching, but at the same time like hot, like yo, it's different kind of hot down here. You know what I mean? Like
we got humidity down here.
Right. And then like I remember the school was basically telling the parents, y'all go, we got refreshments for y'all go sit down and go let the students go handle all this business. And I was like, yo, I don't like it here. You know what I mean? So it was like they was preparing us to be adults already. Like, yo, you go handle that. You stop waiting on your mom and your parents to go do all that stuff for you. You know what I mean? So, that was real deep. And I mean, I remember having to represent. Like we had a pride about being from up north.
Absolutely.
And it was like we stuck together, but I couldn't hang with people from New York and New Jersey no more. I was like, I can't hang with y'all still wilding out. You know what I mean? I gotta find some different people to hang with. You know what I mean? But unlike you, Al, I didn't have anybody I knew. I was the only person from my high school there.
Oh man!
So I was brand new. Like I ain't know nobody. You know what I mean? So everybody I met was like new to me.
Brand new.
Yeah, brand new. You know what I mean?
Actually, Justin was just a keynote here. My man Jay Blitz was rocking the flat top with the felines with the
right, yo. And listen, and that's I wanted my flat top to be the flyest one on the yard, but I couldn't find a good barber. You know what I'm saying? Yo, that was it. So Perry, you good with the you still messing around? Can you hear us?
You frozen again.
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you, but you're frozen still.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll block the cam, but if you guys can hear me, that's fine.
Yeah. So tell us your first experience, like getting on campus at A&T.
Oh, well, okay. My first we went a week before to adjust and kind of get ourselves used to that life. But my first time on campus, I hated it. I mean, I absolutely hate it because I had this notion or this preconceived notion that it was like Hillman. I'm looking for this Hillman experience, and that A&T was not Hillman. But I mean, after I got over that little shock, it took a couple of minutes, and it was just like being home. One good thing about my experience was me and my homeboy were freshman roommates.
Mhm.
So we grew up together. So we ended up at A&T together and ended up roommates. So we had each other to on campus and have each other's back. So
Right.
But that first day when they dropped me off, I was like, this is not Hillman. But somebody tricked me.
I think I see a lot of people don't mention the fact of how important the Cosby Show and Different World was for our age group, and why it pushed all of us to want to go to college, whether it be at HBCU or not. But that in school days, between those two instances, it was like, yo, I gotta go. You know what I mean? And the other thing is that brings up another point. Quick question for everybody: are you still friends with your first roommate?
Yes, I am.
Like this, I'm sharing this right now on my Facebook page, and my first roommate, Bernard Lucas, is actually checking in, and he's commenting all through this conversation.
That's what I'm talking about right there. Yo, that's good stuff right there. That's good stuff. Perry, are you still friends with your first roommate? Oh, you was your homeboy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me and we're like brothers anyway. But yeah, we're right here in Charlotte together. So nothing's changed. We graduated school. He came here. I came the year after him.
All right, that's what's up. Yeah. So all right, so now we're gonna get to the nitty gritty, and we're gonna go around, and I want y'all to share a story about the HBCU experience, or 2 or 3 or whatever. Yeah.
I think Al should go first.
Nah, we're gonna go with ladies first. Ladies first.
Why? Okay, so what you want to know about again? You said
just a story, an HBCU story, maybe a story you told a number of times before, just something that everybody heard before, whatever you want to share.
Okay, well, I guess I'll just share like a memory. Of course, one of the biggest memories of definitely most of all of us that came in between 91 and 95 was the tom-tom parties.
Right.
I used to work the door for tom-tom. That was like one of my first jobs at Smith, which was really good. It was fun. And it was just like, of course, and then Wednesday night, the Qs always had a party. And everybody had
Park Elevator.
Yep. Everybody had late classes on Thursday. So we was all like, okay. We had a lot of partying that we did.
Oh yeah.
I just remember like the first parties that we went to and kind of trying to adjust to the college life and being able to freely go to a club with a whole bunch of other people your age. It was interesting. And then of course the accommodating party throwers who would charter bus us to the parties. So it was fun. That was like one of the fun parts. And then of course, Justin, you and I talked a little bit about for homecoming. Again, remember, I didn't know anything about homecoming. I didn't know about, they were like, oh, it's homecoming. I was like, well, what is that? What's homecoming? They were looking at me like, you don't know what homecoming is? So as you can imagine, hearing the band at 3:00 in the morning on my dorm floor was shocking, but it was so like, it was every year I look forward to that. I'm so like disappointed they don't do it anymore.
Right.
Every year that I was living in the dorms, I looked forward to that. That was just like the most wonderful thing to me. It was just like a fond memory for me.
Right. I didn't remember that until you said it the other day. I was like, yo, I forgot about that. But that was 3:00 in the morning, man. You just hear that drum line come through that. I'm like, man, what is this, man? What part of the world is, and they're like, oh, it's homecoming, man. I'll be like, yeah. So I remember that.
It was cool.
Yeah. So Al, what's one of your stories?
Let me see where we were. He was freshman year, sophomore year, junior year. Let's start with freshman year.
All right.
Freshman year, the same parties time he's talking about, those Q parties.
Right.
I remember one time the very first Q party was very funny. I got my ear pierced that same day. I thought I was it. I had like little shine in my ear. We get a man to go and actually he's cool as I don't know what now. Jason Ross.
Yeah.
He was the super Q on campus.
Oh God.
He looked at me.
So
Be a Q. Don't. I was like, why? He's like, that's not the right answer. What you talking about? I was like, man, I don't know you. Not going for the rest of the year. The Qs didn't like me. 3-second conversation. But the parties were off the hook when I first got to school. I wasn't used to that. You know, I'm from Queens. We Friday night, Saturday night, we walk around the neighborhood, find a party, and go party and go home.
Right.
They had buses going to the party. I was like, yo, this is real, okay?
All right.
And it turned out to be very fun.
I remember one of the first parties we went to. It was a place downtown, and they busted there, but it was like a Wet Willie's inside.
Yes.
Oh,
and your boy Jamie got into a fight with the Qs because he had a purple shirt on.
I remember coming through, and I remember all the fraternities like stepping through the party. And they was like, you got to get out of the way. I was like, man, I ain't got to get out of Jack, yo. I was like, you better not touch me. You know, I got the attitude. You know, I'm Jersey.
All of us had that attitude.
Not about no fraternity, you know what I mean? I was like,
all of us had that attitude. And they swung on Jamie and pretty much knocked him out. I was like, all right, they're real about this. Let's go outside.
Right.
About 30 of us from Liston Hall walking back to campus.
Yeah.
We got back to campus. We all went over to the Q plot, and it was just a show, but it was fun. You know, and I just back about it now. Like, what was we thinking about?
Right.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was absolutely fun.
It was like an educational deal. You know what I mean? You just like, you don't know what's what. Then you got some people that really know about all that stuff and they got to explain it to you. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's wild. So Perry, give us a story at A&T.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad y'all mentioned stuff about just kind of being green and freshman year, because that's where I caught most of my hell my freshman year, just not knowing how to maneuver. This is A&T now. You got to, I mean, it is what it is. It's A&T, but the worst thing that I did, and I'm so glad y'all can't see my face right now because I don't know who can see this, but I of course love the ladies. Just, I mean, that you know, we all went through that, but I broke the number one rule on the yard. I was walking around holding somebody's hand, and they're stepping on Greek plots and not being invited, and right up under that is holding hands on the yard. I didn't think about it, but I walked with this young lady, and we ended up like a mile or two off campus, downtown Greensboro. But we walking around, my head is in the clouds, and I'm holding her hand, and I hear a distinct sound coming by me, and was my boys 4 or 5 deep on a Nissan. And I heard the tires slide, and all of them looked out the window and just busted out laughing. So we get back on the yard, you know, and they like, yo, you don't do that shit. You don't. we gotta reel you in a little bit, country boy. But yeah, that was about as bad as it got. I mean,
that man in love, leave him alone. That's funny, man.
Yeah. Love messed me up, and they're like, look, you don't. There's some people you can love, and some people you can't. I was, and I'm not saying nothing about nobody.
You already said enough, man. I get exactly what you're talking about.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, the joint that's funny to me is I remember one phrase when I first got on the yard. It was 13-1. It was 13 women to every dude, and I was like, I'm good. Like I was sending letters back home, like, yo, we ain't together no more. Like,
After that first block party.
oh my God.
Oh yeah.
And I remember a girl came up to me and she's like, do you want to dance? And I was like, I just got finished. I was like, I'm gonna dance with you a little bit later. She's like, I don't like you. I was like, so? I was like 12 going down. I don't care. Like, it didn't matter. I was doing the math. I'm like, look, I'm good regardless. So, I mean, that's what it was. I know Al, we were in the same dorm my sophomore year. I was an RA. No, that was my junior year because my sophomore year I was still at Liston. So my junior year, we ended up in the same dorm, same floor, right next door to each other. And you were a DJ, and then it was the other DJ on the other side.
Yeah, that was John from Jersey.
Yeah, so y'all would battle back and forth, and like after class, everybody be out in the front of the dorm, and y'all be doing y'all mixes. And everybody be like trying to see who can do a better mix with certain songs. I'd be like, look, man, y'all got like one more hour, man. Y'all got to cut the joint off.
I just finished talking to my mom. I was like, listen, I used to go to class and I would turn both my speakers towards the window.
Yep.
Music all the way up and then go to class. And I come back and you and security be banging on my door. Al, we know you in there. Ain't nobody in there. Man, you turn that damn music down.
Yeah, because you was playing it for the dorm. Like everybody would stand out front and listening to music, and then like JC be rapping and freestyling and everybody be having a good time. And I'd be like, look, y'all, it's 3 PM, man. Like, cut that down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are y'all doing? So
hey, Just, I'll tell you another thing real quick that I did. Al, since you're a DJ, I'm pretty sure you know who I'm talking about. But I used to have 2 12s in my room and a pilot amp, and just I didn't DJ, but I had all that equipment, and I used to like to come to the dorm and hear my music playing. And one Saturday, I left the dorm to go out on the yard about 11:30, 12 o'clock, and I used to like to hear Big Daddy Kane's "I'm Not Ashamed" playing when I came there in the hall because it would make everybody's door vibrate. I put that.
I know that song very well.
I put that song on when I walked out of the room and had the volume on about 7, but the bass was everything in our room was metal, so it was rattling everything. And my aunt lived in Greensboro, and she was on the yard that day and picked me up and took me to her house. And for about 4 hours, all they heard in the dorm was Big Daddy Kane, "I'm Not Ashamed." I can't.
They were like,
the killer was I lived beside the RA, and he let me have it. He was upperclassman. You know, I couldn't do nothing, but I know that song stuck in a lot of people's heads for a real long time.
That's crazy. I there was one. John C. Smith was a dry campus, so you wasn't supposed to have alcohol on the yard.
Isn't Hbcu?
I don't know what that means.
Well, I couldn't write up what I couldn't see. That was my rule. If I don't see it, I can't write it up, right? But if you blatant about it, then you're gonna be that bold. I'm gonna write you up.
I will say this: Justin was pretty lenient because I used to knock on his door. But 1 o'clock in the morning with a 40 in my hand, like
Al came and knocked on my door at 1 in the morning. About I need to borrow your microwave with a 40 in his hand, and I'm not gonna say what was behind his ear, but I'm like, you want to knock and come again, like come back in like a minute. You know what I'm saying? He like, what? I'm like, what you got in your hand and what's behind your ear? He like, oh, my bad. And
I think you see that.
It was a pencil.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing? Yo, it was like one of those things, but it's like, dude, you asking me to write you up at this point. You know what I mean? So I mean, that was like one of those things, but it was like it was all love.
We both from up north, Jersey.
I know, but then the funny thing about it is, we also had those people on the floor that go, you ain't write Al up, and I just seen him walk down the hallway in front of me with a 40. You know what I mean? So it's like if I wasn't hard on you, then I could be hard on everybody else. So it's kind of like, yo. You know what I mean? So it was like one of those type situations.
You never wrote me up. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Nah, you know, we had it was certain things you had to write people up for. Like it was certain things like we can't, like, there's nothing I can do for you, man. Like you wilding way out. You know what I mean? Like I can't, ain't nothing I can do about that. Like you can't throw somebody down the steps and I don't write you up for that. You know what I mean? Like dude, you got a hot plate and you got the whole hallway filled with smoke. I gotta write that up.
Oh man.
So it was like one of those things. I remember having meetings with people in the hallway, like at the beginning of the year, and say, hey, you know, this is not a co-ed dorm. You can't have your woman in here after hours. Da 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 da. Man, your girl be up here all the time. But like,
yep.
Again, you can't have your girl up here after hours. But your girl be, and then somebody was like, dude, he can't write you up if he don't see you. Like, oh, all right. I'm like, dude, get this guy out of my dorm. You know what I mean? So it's like one of those situations. I mean, Tanya, do you remember, what would you say would be, if you had a child going to an HBCU, what would be the thing that you would tell them to do differently than what you did when you went there?
How much time you got? No, I'm just kidding. So I think I would encourage them, number one, to live on campus for at least 3 years.
Right.
Because I moved off the yard. Well, did I move off the yard? No. Okay. Back it up. So I did stay on 3 years. I moved off my senior year, but my junior year, I worked so much. So like one thing that I would encourage them to do is not to worry about holding down so much employment time, and to like really live in the moment, because I didn't live in the moment so much. So like I have lots of memories of Smith, but I feel like if I had lived in the moment, I would have been able to have even more experiences.
Right.
Not be in such a rush to finish school and to get into the working world. I mean, a lot of me working was, I had to support myself a lot, you know.
Right.
And I was just ready to be more independent, you know what I'm saying? So, but at the same point, I would definitely encourage them to live more in the moment, because again, you know, I feel like I could have done that a little bit more, and not worry so much about working if possible. And
right.
Just focus on school and social, you know, people, make as many connections as possible. Because these are lifelong connections. Like we still connected.
We still going strong.
Each other, and our kids are growing up together, and you know. So yeah, I would, and I mean, I did those things. I can't say that it would be something different, but in the first instance of what I said, as far as living more in the moment and not working so much,
right,
and focus more on school and friends. So yeah.
Okay. Al, what about you?
Well, speaking from the perspective of a parent that has a child in a HBC that DJs, Brown Hornet. But what I said to him, I told him, you definitely got to go on campus. You got to stay on campus at least 2 to 3 years. Get to know everybody. Don't hold no grudges against anybody. Let that whole north-south thing go. Just meet people.
Yeah.
He's done that his first year. He's been in school 1 year already.
Right.
Actually, speaking with him like 2 days ago, he was like, I'm glad I went to campus. I'm glad I'm going to stay on campus for another 2 years. So
right.
Because you miss a lot when you're not on campus.
Yeah, definitely do.
Yeah.
With the advice I'd given him, first thing, go to class. Go to class. Don't follow dad. Go to class. I went to class. I didn't go to all my classes.
Oh, yeah, I do have something to add after you finish, Al. I got something to add about that.
I told him, make sure you go to class, get your grades right. As long as your grades right, your parents won't have nothing to say. With that, you can have as much fun as you want to have as much fun as you need to have, do whatever it is, help get your grades right.
Right.
And that's actually the complete advice I had given him when he went away to school.
That's dope.
Away from home. He's down in like New Orleans. Yeah. That he has the same mindset I had when I left New York. I'm going
as far away as possible. Yeah, I got you.
I'm gonna go far enough.
Yeah, I got
Didn't pop up on me, even though she did.
you. What was it that you wanted to add, Tanya?
Freshman year, focus and get that GPA straight, because I messed around. Like, I didn't fail out, obviously, but I had not focused enough. So even being on the dean's list my sophomore, junior, and senior year, I just was this close to graduating with honors. My freshman year messed me up.
Yeah,
So, my cousins that have gone after me, my kids, I'm like Al said, whatever you do, have a good time, but make sure those grades are straight, because it's
Grades are
hard
right.
to bring them up.
yeah.
Once you're down, it's hard to bring them up. And I did really well my last 3 years, but that first year messed me up.
I had somebody pull me to the side my freshman year, and I still hold that dude like responsible for getting me right. He just got in my ear, was like, "Look, man, get your GPA as high as you can get to your freshman year."
Mhm.
He's like, "That's the best thing I can tell you." And I was like, "Why?" He was like, "Because it's hard to bring it up. It's easy to bring it down, but it's way hard to bring it up." So I was like, "Yo," and then I took it, and it's I mean, I'll say his name is Curtis Eiffel. That's who pulled me to the side.
Okay.
Curtis Eiffel pulled me to the side, told me that, and ever since then, I tell every single one of my little cousins, my nephews, everybody that go to college, I tell them, get your GPA as high as you can get it. You know what I mean? For your freshman year, that's your easiest classes. Get them joints up. You know what I mean? So
I was doing too much partying at the tea party on Wednesday.
I didn't miss a party my freshman year. I know that. I know I ain't missing one.
I don't think anybody missed a party our freshman year.
I ain't
All
missing
three of
one.
us came in together. Nah, nobody missed a party that year.
Yeah, Perry, what advice would you give your children?
Just like you guys, when you went back to Tanya, my whole on your freshman year, just go in as hard as you can to make sure that your grades are as solid as they can be going into your second year.
Yeah,
right.
I like Tanya. I had that same struggle. I stayed on academic probation so much. The RA couldn't get me, and he couldn't write me up because I couldn't afford it.
Hold on. I wasn't on academic probation, bro. Let me clear that up.
You said what? I'm talking about I was saying I was on. I didn't say you messed up like that, but I did. But I was saying how you said you struggled with your freshman year. I did the same, and it took a lot to get it back up. And I was in school a little longer than I should have been because of that, and a lot of opportunities that I messed up because I didn't think much of my grades my freshman year. Right. Aside from that, I tell my kids to just go in with the values that we gave you.
Yep. There you go.
Everything that we gave you at home, you take that with you to school. Don't try to reinvent yourself when you get on that college campus. I saw a lot of that in my freshman year where people tried to be something other than what they were when they were home. And I saw a lot of people. I saw a lot of people that were a little soft at home trying to be bullies on campus, and it didn't work out too well for them.
That lasted every bit of about 3 weeks, though.
I know.
Yeah. So scheme of things, be yourself, bust it your freshman year, and at the top of all that, boy, don't walk around on campus holding nobody's hand no freshman year.
Yo, I think, that's good advice, man. I really feel like we knew who was fake and who was real within the first couple weeks of school. Who was putting on the front, who wasn't. I don't think there was ever a time I could remember being on the yard not laughing. Like, I was always trying to find somebody to be laughing at, and if I wasn't laughing, I wasn't around. If nobody was laughing, I wasn't around y'all. You know what I mean? Like, so if everybody was all serious and, man, who they staring at? I'm like, y'all on some different stuff. I'm going over here. You know what I mean? So, it's like one of those things. But like I said, I remember those days, regularly, and I go back to that time and I go, it was so simple. But we wanted to make it complicated, and it didn't have to be. You know what I'm saying? So it was like one of those situations. So hopefully, like, this broadcast itself will get a lot of people back in the mindset and ideas of looking at HBCUs as the backbone and the things that create, you know, good people. You know what I mean? As far as yeah, so I just feel like that's what we need. But again, anybody that's looking at this, if you're interested in being on one of these episodes, y'all inbox me and let me know what's good, and I could definitely bring you on. And if anybody got another story, y'all can add it. If not, you know, we can. Oh, Al got another one. Go ahead, Al. Go ahead, Al.
Come on, Al. Bring it.
Oh, all right. Where can we start here? Let's go to sophomore year.
Okay.
Everybody moved out of Liston, and we all were separated to all different dorms.
Right.
That's where your cliques kind of developed that.
Right.
And you kind of really figured out who was a real friend at that moment.
Right.
Figured out who was a real friend when you went to a party. Because like freshman year, you never knew who was going to jump off.
Right.
But when it came to people like Justin, Tanya, Bernard, who's my old roommate, Civi, I can call names off all day long. These are all people I still keep in contact with.
Right.
So it wasn't just about a friendship. It was almost like a brother-sisterhood type thing. So, you know, we all keep in touch with everybody that we had fun with.
Right.
I think that, and shout outs to Shanti. She gave my name Buddha Brown. So came from the front of Berry Hall.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's
I think every child, every black child needs to experience the HBCU.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful. Yeah, I think it would be helpful. Just in general, just as far as getting to know yourself and thinking that you might be the only person that went through some type of problems, and you start listening to other people's problems, and you go, I thought I had it bad, but they had it worse. You know what I mean? It's like one of those type situations. But we all had it. We all had it better than most because we were going to, well, us three that's on the screen right now, we was going to a private school. And
bringing to the cafeteria, eat with no problem.
right. That's the crazy thing. 3 squares a day. You understand what I'm saying? That was.
Gotta believe it.
And that was good. So I do. It's like certain things I just remember. I remember just Berry Hall to me. I'm a little biased. I think Barry was like one of the best dorms, period. Because I lived there. It was the best dorm. We had barbers, the characters, right? The characters that was in that dorm, there was some funny dudes, man. And it was always constant comedy in that dorm all the time. No matter what floor you went to, it was constant comedy in that dorm. So it was just, and then we had the barbershop in the dorm.
You had the music spot on the 2nd floor. I'm not gonna mention what was on the 3rd floor, but we had it all. We had it all in Berry Hall.
Right. So, Perry, you back?
Oh, you know what? I have a memory.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, go ahead, Ty.
Speaking about cafeteria, do y'all remember when? Because you mentioned Civi, that made me think of it. Denise, Tress, Civi, all of them used to come in, and one of them would always pretend to fall in the cafeteria. They would actually fall.
Yeah, so let me tell you that freshman year,
somebody had to fall during the cafeteria.
Freshman year, that was the way. Like, if you lost cool points, I remember when we go to school and you lost some cool points.
Did you say cool points?
Yeah. So let's say, for instance, you was walking across the street and you tripped and fell. All right, so you lost your cool points, right? So the only way you get your cool points back is if you had to purposely embarrass yourself in front of everybody, and then you get your cool points back. So we would go to the caf and we'd be like, all right, you got to get your cool points back somehow. And like people would like go up with their tray and like and spill everything and then run out the cab and be like, but you couldn't tell nobody you did it on purpose. You could basically take that L and then get your cool points back. Like, all right, you got the cool points back on that one. You know what I mean?
Once you didn't run any farther than the door, you went to the block and stood outside after you did it.
Right.
Tasha Jenkins would be like the main one. Between her and Denise, Tress, they would be like the main ones. They would always come in and fall on purpose.
Fall on purpose, yeah.
Everybody would be like, ah, and then you look and be like,
I also remember. I remember you couldn't walk under doorways. Like if you walk under doorways, somebody will come up behind you. Don't go. You be like, man, go ahead with that.
Funny story. I did that to my son like a week ago. He was like, "What's wrong with you?"
I think there was at least 20 doors that was broken on campus for somebody hanging on the little bar at the joint trying to dunk on somebody. And that's like, it was so childish, man. It was
Al said he did it to his son.
Less than a week ago.
Right.
He got over it.
Oh man, that's hilarious, man. Yo, I appreciate y'all, man. We're gonna wrap this one up. If you want to get on again, let me know. I'll bring y'all back on, man. But
any more stories, bro? You know that.
HBCU Stories with my guest Tanya, Al Brown, and my boy Perry, man. Shout out to Johnson C. Smith. Shout out to North Carolina A&T. And we'll be back next Sunday.
All right, JC.
All right, peace, y'all.
All right,
All right, later.
Peace.